Think your lashes have hit their limit? Discover limitless length and full volume with Maybelline Sky High Mascara. The Flex Tower brush bends to volumize and extend every single lash from root to tip. And the lightweight bamboo-infused formula makes lashes feel weightless. Now in 8 bold shades so you can take your lashes to new heights every day. Visit Maybelline.com to shop Sky High Mascara now.
My name is Percy Jackson. Getting in trouble is like breathing for me.
The hit series returns to Disney Plus and Hulu.
The danger the camp is under is greater than you can possibly imagine.
For the key to our survival, 3 of you must quest to the Sea of Monsters.
Let's go do the impossible. I'm not gonna let some stupid monster stand in my way.
Percy Jackson and the Olympians. New season now on Disney Plus and Hulu. Learn more at disneyplus.com/whatson.
Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. Enjoy comfortable rooms and friendly service when you stay with Hilton instead. Save up to 25% this season when you book with Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Terms apply.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
What's up, everyone? I'm your host, Will, and you're listening to One Good Scare, the show where we explore our favorite horror movies. Today, we're diving into one of my favorite horror movies of 2025, Bring Her Back. Before we dive in, though, don't forget you can follow One Good Scare on Instagram, at OneScarePod, and TikTok, at One Good Scare Pod. Make sure to follow and leave a comment or two. I love interacting and discussing. Also, be sure to leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Pods. It lets me know you're enjoying the show, and I promise you, that goes a long way to keeping it going. And remember, my goal with One Good Scare is not to replace your viewing experience, it's to enhance it. So if you haven't ever seen Bring Her Back, or if it's been a while, my strong encouragement is to do that first, and then come back and give the show a listen. Of course, if you'd rather listen than watch, I appreciate that as well. Just remember, one good scare is one gigantic spoiler. Alright, let's dive into what I think is a really great horror movie. Bring Her Back. To this point, Bring Her Back is the most recent release I've covered on the show. And after seeing it in theaters back in May, I really felt like it was one of the best horror movies of 2025. And as the year has gone on, and more horror movies have been released, I still feel the same way. Except I feel like it's important to say up front that if you've never seen it, and you go into it expecting traditional horror elements and jump scares, you might actually be really disappointed. I'll talk more about this a bit later. Overall, the movie fared really well with critics and moviegoers alike. IMDb has it at a 7.1 out of 10, which is one of the highest ratings for a horror movie in 2025. Rotten Tomatoes has it at an 89% tomato meter, with a slightly lower 79% popcorn meter. And Letterboxd has it at a 3.7 out of 5 overall rating. I do think this movie requires at least 2 viewings to fully grasp, which, considering the themes and pacing, may actually be a bit of a chore. Listen, I love a good slow burn horror movie, and I've gotten to calling them yawn horror because they're often criticized for being too slow, with not enough action or horror. Bring Her Back toes the line of yawn horror. Even its horror elements are more shocking than scary. Again, I'll talk about this a bit later. Before we dive in, let me give a quick reminder. I'll do my best to keep the cut-ins to a minimum, because I have 2 special guests, Matt and Hanna, co-hosts of the terrific Horror Hour with the Hannas, who will be joining me in the second half of the show. Okay, It's time to settle in and turn down the lights as we explore a dark, bleak, harrowing horror movie. Bring Her Back. The movie opens with a woman speaking Russian against a black screen. Then the scene shifts to an overhead view of a woman sitting in a circle. A man then walks into it, and we watch as another woman walks around with a video camera. There's some sort of ritual going on, and as the opening credits roll, we see the footage of a man and a woman possibly possessed by some sort of spirit. The woman records and zooms in on a young girl who has a strange birthmark on her face under her right eye. The words, "Bring her back," then flash across the screen. We then see a young girl. She's standing alone as a group of girls chatter and giggle off to the side. She walks up to them and makes small talk, and they answer reluctantly. Suddenly, someone calls for her, Piper, and eventually he walks up beside her. She says she doesn't know who he is, though she's just trying to play him off. He says he's her brother. A second later, a bus pulls up, and Piper and her brother walk away. When he looks back, he sees one of the girls mocking her. She asks if the girls liked her, and her brother lies and says they did. Piper is a visually impaired person, and he asks about her cane, which she says is in her bag. The scene then shifts to the driveway of their home, where the brother, Andy, is fixing a side mirror on his car. Piper calls to him, and the two rush inside, with Andy calling for their father. Piper hands him a knife to unlock the bathroom door, and there, he finds his father on the shower floor, dead. Andy walks around him slowly as Piper reaches down to feel him on the floor. We then see the paramedics taking their father out on a gurney, with Andy looking away as they wheel him out. The scene shifts to an office, where a social worker talks to Andy and Piper and tells them they're being split up into two different foster placements. The two push back, and the social worker explains the foster parent has had trouble with certain youth in the past. They convince the social worker to keep them together, and we then see Piper lying under a bed and Andy crawling alongside her. The two talk about their father's death, and Andy tries to soften the situation. We then see Andy and Piper driving, and they eventually pull up to a pretty secluded house, where they knock on the front door. A voice calls out from somewhere inside and tells them to come inside the home. Loud music plays as Andy and Piper meet their foster mother, Laura, who is oozing with enthusiasm. She gets a selfie with the two, though when we see the picture, Laura's face is covering Andy's. She introduces Piper to her dog, Pom Pom, who is actually dead and stuffed. Laura asks about Piper's cane, and she says she doesn't like using it. Andy notices the rug is taped down and asks if it's for Piper. Laura says it's for her daughter, and then says that she has passed. Piper asks how she died, and Laura says she drowned. Laura then takes a phone call, and Andy and Piper walk outside to the backyard. Andy notices a pool fully drained of water, and a young boy standing in the middle, holding onto the cat as it tries to claw away. Laura calls for the boy, Oliver, and rushes into the pool and takes the cat away from him. He turns around, and we see that he has the same strange birthmark under his right eye. Sometime later, Laura takes Piper's height as Andy and Oliver watch. Oliver steps up to have his height checked, and Laura says he has been selectively mute since the death of her daughter, Kathy. Andy then steps up, and Piper asks about Oliver. Both he and Laura lie about Oliver smiling at her and his hair color, which Laura says is red. As Andy gets some of their belongings from the car, he notices a small part of a white outline surrounding the property. He follows as Laura and Piper walk towards her room. Andy then turns and walks towards his, and we see him texting a friend. Suddenly, Laura stands in the room initiating conversation and asks if Andy is going to apply for guardianship when he turns 18, and Laura tells him to stay safe and reliable as she has to report his progress to the authorities. As they're talking, Andy's phone dings and Laura asks who is texting him. He says it's just a friend. She asks what they're talking about, and Andy tries to brush it off. Laura persists and says she's a counselor and that he doesn't have to be defensive. Piper calls from the other room and Andy gets up to respond. But when he looks back, Laura is looking at his text messages, which shows that he was making fun of Oliver. Andy rushes and grabs the phone out of Laura's hand, and the two apologize, though Laura seems put off by Andy's reaction. As she walks out, she confronts Andy about the text message, and he responds defensively. The next scene shows Andy working out and Piper walking around her room, which was actually Kathy's room. Laura peeks in as Piper lays on the bed. The scene then shifts to the pool at night, and we see Piper asleep in her bed as Laura walks down the hallway and Oliver looks up the stairs at her. Laura tells him to wait in his room. Andy, meanwhile, is scrolling on his phone. We then watch as Laura puts a VHS into a VCR, and we see the strange footage from the start of the movie, a chalk circle and a woman speaking in Russian. Then, Laura slides open a drawer, revealing a picture of Kathy. Andy, restless in his bed, gets up to look out the window and sees Oliver and Laura walking in the backyard. The camera pans out as tense music plays. The next morning, Laura is shown painting in the pool as thunder roars overhead. Suddenly, she wakes up Andy and Piper, and we see that Andy has peed on himself overnight. He runs the wash, and then we see him staring at the shower as it runs. He seems stressed and has flashbacks of Piper giving their father CPR. Laura peeks in at Oliver and says they're going out before closing the door and locking it behind her. Then, we see Andy and Piper at their father's funeral. Laura is there, and the two say goodbye to their father. As people filter out, Laura clips some of their father's hair and tucks it away. As Andy and Piper embrace, Laura tells Andy he needs to say goodbye to their dad one last time. Back at the house, Oliver is banging his hands on the window and eventually smashes it, slicing his hand wide open. We see him walking in the backyard and banging on a locked door. There is blood everywhere. He walks over to the chicken coop and seems to be trying to get in. A quick cutscene takes us back to the funeral home, where Laura, Andy, and Piper are saying their final goodbyes. Laura encourages Andy to kiss their dad one last time, and Andy struggles before eventually kissing him on the forehead. Laura says to kiss him on the lips as it's customary, and Andy refuses, with Laura offering reassurance. She then bends down and kisses their father on the lips. Back in the car, Laura wants to liven up the mood, and when they get back to the house, they play music and games, with Oliver looking in from the backyard. The three play a drinking game, and they toast to their father before listening to music and dancing. They all take shots of vodka and whiskey, and Piper says to play their dad's favorite song. We then see Piper crashed out on the couch, and Andy thanks Laura for a good day. Laura offers for Andy to talk to her about his dad, and they sit back to back, alternating turns sharing. Laura laments the loss of her daughter and says she wishes she could hear her one more time. Andy laments that Piper was his father's favorite, and then states that he was abused by their dad. We then see Laura walking into Andy's room and asking if he is awake. He's knocked out. Laura exits quickly and goes into her bedroom. Then, she heads into her bathroom, where she pees into a measuring cup, and then goes back into Andy's room. Within a second, she dumps the pee onto his pants and checks his phone. Suddenly, we hear the cat outside and watch as Oliver is holding it in the pool. A quick cutscene shows her bathing Oliver and cleaning the wound on his hand. He sits in the bath, staring straight ahead. Laura looks at him and asks how she can believe you're in there if she can't see you. Oliver turns to face her, and the water begins running by itself. She walks slowly to it as the cat hisses, and in the mirror, we see that Oliver is possessed by something. Laura screams and Andy wakes up, drool on his mouth and urine on his pants. And this is the end of Act 1. Okay, so there isn't much in the way of action or horror in the first act, but there are lots of strange pieces that we know go together. We're just not sure how. There's the strange Russian demon ritual, the strange foster mother Laura, the strange foster kid Oliver, and the mysterious death of Kathy. To this point, the movie is like a jigsaw puzzle that we're trying to piece together. We know Kathy's death is a major point in this movie. It's been referenced more than a half dozen times. But let's quickly talk about the acting, because it really is fantastic. First, I really appreciate the Philippo brothers casting Sora Wong, a person with visual impairment, for the role of Piper. It's obvious that this is a critical part of the film, and I've said this before, but representation is so important. And frankly, she's super talented and does a terrific job of showing vulnerability and confidence. Billy Barrett, who plays Andy, likewise is terrific in his role. Interestingly enough, he kind of reminds me of Sean Astin in The Goonies. Not so much because he's a bit goofy, but appearance-wise, there are some similarities. Andy is the perfect contrast to Piper. He's more on edge and tense, and he seems super uncomfortable and almost feels like he's stumbling around trying to find his footing. And of course, there's Sally Hawkins, who is absolutely phenomenal in her role as Laura. I'm always in awe when an actor can subtly change from caring and compassionate to brooding and possibly sinister. Something is up with Laura. We know it because she gives us glimpses, but we don't have the full picture yet, and that is keeping us on our toes. What Act 1 lacks in action and horror elements, it makes up for in keeping us off balance. There's an impending sense of doom just over the horizon. All right, let's jump back into Act 2. Act 2 opens with the cat walking on the couch and Andy going to wash his clothes. He walks into Laura, who takes his laundry, and Piper says they're going out for a girls' day. Laura confronts him about the urine and encourages him to take a shower. As he walks away, Laura tells Piper that Andy became aggressive the night before and that she'll tell her about it in the car. As Andy heads into the shower, he has flashbacks of his father lying on the ground dead. Rather than shower, he washes up in the outside spigot as Oliver watches from his bedroom. Andy sees him and waves, and we watch as Oliver eats a fly that he smashed on the window. Andy heads to Oliver's room and finds it locked. He grabs a knife and unlocks the door, where he finds Oliver staring into space. He asks Oliver if he's hungry, and the two are then shown in the kitchen. Andy takes cantaloupe out of the fridge and hands Oliver a pad and pen to write with. Andy begins cutting the cantaloupe and makes a deal with Oliver. Cantaloupe in exchange for words. He hands Oliver the knife with the cantaloupe and then turns to grab a plate. As he bends down, he hears something strange, and when he looks up, he finds Oliver biting down on the knife. The two struggle, and Andy gets the knife out, but cuts up Oliver's gums and teeth. Immediately, we see Andy trying to get Oliver to the car, but for some reason he can't leave the white circle, and when he does, he begins screaming in pain, convulsing, and coughing up blood and mucus. Andy lifts up his shirt and sees Oliver's stomach is distended. Oliver whimpers, "Help me," just as Piper and Laura pull up. Laura screams at Andy, and he and Piper walk back inside as Laura brings Oliver into the house. Then we see Laura watching the strange Russian VHS as Oliver struggles to breathe. He asks, "Where am I?" And then, "Who are you? What do you want?" She turns on loud music as she watches the ritual tape and covers Oliver's mouth as he begins to scream. She follows the ritual on the VHS, and as she does this, Oliver begins to settle down. His moment of lucidity is now replaced by possession. Outside the door, Andy and Piper ask if they should take him to a hospital, but Laura confronts him for breaking into her room before ushering Piper in and slamming the door on Andy. Okay, real quick. The first time I saw the cantaloupe scene in the theater, I almost shit my pants. Of all the horror things, body horror is the toughest for me to stomach, and the chewing knife scene may not be the worst body horror scene in this movie. In fact, there's at least 2 more that are fucking gnarly. Okay, back to the movie. Piper is in the room with Oliver and Laura, and she feeds him the hair from Andy and Piper's father. Then we see Laura walking around, calling for the cat, and an overhead shot shows she has drawn a white circle around her entire property. Back inside, Andy finally takes a shower, and he sees his dad standing outside looking in. Andy looks and calls to his dad, and when they make eye contact, Andy slips on the water and bangs his head on the ground. We watch as Andy's dad bends down and warns him that if Piper goes outside in the rain, she'll die. And suddenly, we're in the hospital as Andy is tended to. Coming to, Andy struggles to break free as rain pours outside. Back at the house, Laura sits by the pool as the rain comes down in sheets and then watches a home movie with her daughter. Piper steps back into her bedroom and says she's worried about Andy. The two sit on the bed and watch the home movie together. Back at the hospital, Laura visits Andy, who tells him they're going to keep him another day since he has a concussion. She says she brought him a present, body spray. Andy says he saw his dad in the shower and that Laura can't let Piper out in the rain because she might die. Laura then says something interesting. "You don't think it's because your dad died in the shower when I killed him?" Andy seems confused, and Laura clarifies before reassuring him. Back at the house, Laura lets Piper out into the rain, where they splash in puddles and dance as Oliver watches from his bedroom window. Laura then gives Piper Kathy's favorite sweater and says Piper can call her mom if she likes. She then ties Piper's hair back like Kathy's and says, "There you are." She then asks Piper if she wants to stay even when Andy turns 18 and leaves. Piper says they would still visit on weekends, and Laura, disappointed, says okay. Then the door opens and Oliver walks in. She then says she wants to show Piper something else and has her touch something in the freezer inside the small shed. We see Oliver slip behind the freezer, and we then see Kathy lying in the freezer, dead. The next scene takes us to the car as Andy is on his way back to the house. Andy tucks Piper into bed and is confronted by Laura. He lifts weights, but becomes frustrated when he sees Laura treating Piper the same way as their dad. Back in her room, Laura continues the ritual with Oliver, and we see more of the strange Russian tape, with different individuals becoming possessed and then feeding on other people. As Oliver watches, his eyes turn red and grotesque. The tape continues, showing horrific things, when suddenly someone who was previously dead came back to life. We then see Laura spraying herself with deodorant and entering Piper's room, where she is asleep. There, she hits Piper in the face, and we hear her screaming in pain. Piper shows Andy a black eye, and she says someone hit her. Andy asks if it was Laura, and Laura says it was him. Laura then reveals that their dad abused Andy. Laura becomes aggressive, and Andy says she better stop. He sees Oliver outside, bloodied, and tries to take a picture, but Laura lunges at him. He pushes her down and the two tussle back and forth. Laura tosses his phone, and Andy pins her against the wall and punches it. Piper screams for Andy to stop. Meanwhile, Laura fake cries in pain. Andy says they're going, and Piper steps back. He then heads out of the house and drives away. The next scene shows him walking into the social worker's office, and as he's sitting there, he notices a strange poster on the wall with a picture of a boy named Connor who is actually Oliver. In the social worker's office, Andy says they need to call the cops immediately, but Wendy asks about his bedwetting and possibly attacking Piper and Laura. Andy says it's not grief and shows her the missing poster of Connor. Andy asks if they vetted Laura and how they know who she is. Wendy reveals that Laura worked there for 20 years and was the best counselor they had. She tries to reassure Andy that she would never hurt a child. Back at the house, Oliver is trashing the kitchen, searching for food. He's skeletal and his belly is becoming distended. He attacks Laura, pulling her hair and clawing at her. He bites her arm, so she locks herself in his room before fainting on the floor. Andy convinces Wendy to let him take her to the house, where we see Oliver biting and eating the wooden countertop, his teeth breaking and falling out. He then bites into his arm, pulling a large chunk of flesh before digging in again. Laura wraps a tourniquet around her arm and steps out of the room, where she sees Oliver standing at the edge of the pool. From inside, she draws a circle in her blood on the window, and Oliver turns around. Laura draws another circle, and Oliver comes to the glass, where he seems to be back under her control. She then takes him to the freezer, where he climbs in, and we hear Laura screaming. And this is the end of Act 2. Okay, I warned you that there were at least 2 other body horror scenes in this movie. The wood-eating scene and the arm-chomping scene. Both scenes hurt to watch and were unexpected and a little shocking. Overall, Act 2 picks up the pace significantly. The ritual is equal parts demonic possession and reincarnation. Laura kidnapped Connor/Oliver with the goal of using him as a conduit for the demon. The rest of the pieces aren't quite clear just yet, but we know that Piper is going to play a significant role in this whole thing. Remember, Laura has said a few times that Piper reminds her of Kathy. The tone of Act 2 is also much different than Act 1. Beyond the quickened pace and horror elements, Act 1 brings you to a place of sympathy. You feel for the kids and Laura, even though we know she's a menace. Act 1 keeps us off balance while also forcing us to reckon with the sadness of the situation. Act 2, though, is different. The sympathy is starting to wear off and is replaced with urgency. We know the kids are in danger and that Laura is way off her fucking rocker. So all we want is for them to make it out in one piece. And yet, we still don't have all the pieces in front of us. And the Filippo brothers are doing a terrific job of forcing us to keep watching. So let's jump into Act 3. The next scene shows us Piper at a local gym, with Andy's voice laid over the scene. He's leaving her a voicemail, telling her the truth about their father. Wendy listens in as Andy bears his soul. Laura also listens in, and she overhears Wendy's voice cut into the message. Suddenly, Laura is working frantically to clean up the house, sweeping and getting things in order. Andy and Wendy pull up, and she tells him to wait in the car. Meanwhile, Laura continues cleaning as Wendy knocks on the door. She opens up, and Wendy steps into the house as Andy steps out of the car, the missing poster falling out. He hops the fence and walks to the side of the house before walking to the small shed where the freezer is. Wendy walks around the house, and we see Andy picking up a bird bath to try and get into the shed area. He breaks the lock, and Laura takes Wendy to Andy's room. Andy breaks into the shed and discovers something horrific: Oliver feeding on Kathy's corpse. Wendy apologizes as she heads out, and then notices Laura is bleeding. Suddenly, she hears Andy screaming from outside, and Laura pleads with Wendy to not go out there. Laura tells Wendy, "It's Kathy. We can bring her back." Now, Wendy knows something is wrong and asks, "What have you done?" She says Piper needs to go the way Kathy did. Wendy struggles and breaks free from Laura, who is hysterical on the ground. Andy leads Wendy to the shed, where she sees Oliver feeding on Kathy. Andy and Wendy rush back towards her car, but as they do, Laura drives right into both of them, killing Wendy and injuring Andy, who is sideways in a puddle. Laura steps out and then drowns Andy in the puddle of water. The next scene shows Laura picking up Piper from the gym and driving back towards the house. As they get into the house, she hears Oliver mimicking Andy's voice. We see an overhead shot of Piper standing in a pool of blood. She then goes upstairs, and Oliver continues mimicking Andy's voice. She touches Oliver's head, who is now completely possessed. Laura says Andy is downstairs and that she was standing next to Oliver. As Piper and Laura head downstairs, Piper asks about the color of Oliver's hair. Piper then runs away quickly, into the bathroom, where she backs into Andy's body. She touches his face and feels his braces, and knows he's gone. She pleads with him to wake up, but sadly, it's too late. Laura unlocks the door, and she tells Piper that he had an accident. She says she has a secret to tell Piper, that she's spoken with an angel, and that she put it inside Oliver, and now he's going to put Kathy inside Piper. She asks what Laura is going to do, and Laura says she's going to drown her in the pool. The two struggle, and Piper runs into a steel beam, knocking her unconscious. Laura drags her outside, where Oliver, whose belly is now fully distended and seemingly pregnant, walks into the pool. Laura, holding Piper, meets him in the middle. He is now fully possessed. Laura then pushes Piper's head underwater, and she struggles against her weight. Laura pleads with Piper to let her do this as Oliver begins writhing, the demon seemingly coming out of his throat. He inches forward as Piper struggles, and suddenly, Piper screams, "Mom," in Kathy's voice. Laura holds Piper as Oliver watches, and then Piper simply walks out of the pool. Laura sobs and screams as she realizes the ritual didn't work. As Piper walks away, Oliver chases after her, and Piper falls down a small slope. Oliver, meanwhile, begins struggling and vomiting blood. Laura struggles to get out of the pool. Piper has made it to the road, where she flags down a car as Oliver watches from a distance. He looks down at the missing poster showing his picture. Laura steps into the small shed, where she has a flashback of Kathy. She looks down at her daughter, whose eye was eaten by Oliver, who has stepped out of the circle and is now fighting for his life. In the car, Piper listens to Andy's voicemail, tears streaming down her face. Back at Laura's home, police find Oliver writhing in the grass. He pleads for help and says his name is Connor Bird. Laura is discovered in the pool with Kathy, and it seems as though she died holding her daughter in her arms. The screen then fades to black, and Bring Her Back has come to an end. Whew, what a ride. Let's catch our breath for a second and explore this briefly before jumping into the second half of the show. By now you know this movie is bleak. There's no happy ending, no tying up the loose ends, no redemption. Everyone either dies or is left with massive trauma. And that's what makes this movie horrific, because it lingers like a deep bruise. One of the most common and frankly valid criticisms of the movie is that it's predictable. Now, I don't think you're wrong. It's easy to see where it's going. But I also think this is one of the rare instances where predictability actually works in its favor, because Bring Her Back isn't trying to tie you into knots. It's not vying for a twist ending or a gotcha moment. Think of it like this. When you set out on a road trip, one of the first things you do is pull up the route. You want to know exactly how to get where you're going. With the route set, you hop in the car and hopefully have a smooth ride. But of course, best laid plans often go to waste as traffic and weather sometimes pop up unexpectedly. Bring Her Back is like a road trip. You see the destination long before you get there. and you know the general route the movie is going to take. But there are elements that take you by surprise on the way to the end, and that force you to keep watching as you go. Here are a few examples. Laura using her counseling training and skills to gaslight Andy and manipulate Piper. Both are vulnerable children in need of care and support, and she uses that against them. Laura assaulting both Andy and Piper to accomplish her terrifying goal. Laura kidnapping Oliver/Connor and using him as a vessel for a demon. Oliver/Connor chewing a knife, a wooden table, and himself in order to feed the starving demon. Andy dying and leaving Piper safe, but with an unknown journey ahead. Listen, more than a movie about demonic possession, Bring Her Back is ultimately a story about loss and grief. And more than asking the question, what would you do to bring a loved one back? It asks something more uncomfortable, then forces us to watch the answer unfold. How far would you go to bring a loved one back? And maybe more specifically, who would you hurt to bring a loved one back? Obviously, I have lots of thoughts, but to explore it in better detail, let's hop into the second half of the show with special guests Matt and Hanna, co-hosts of the terrific Horror Hour with the Hannas. All right, everyone. So we are moving into our discussion phase of the episode. And I have with me two special guests. They are co-hosts, husband and wife team, who co-host one of my absolute favorite horror movie podcasts, Horror Hour with the Hannas. We have Matt and Hanna with us. Guys, say hello. Introduce yourselves to our listeners.
Hi, I'm Hanna.
I'm Matt Hanna.
And we're Horror Hour with the Hannas.
And thank you for saying we're your favorit.
Yeah, I bet you don't say that to anyone else.
So I don't. And the truth is, and I'm probably going to edit this out for my own mental well-being after the episode releases, but the truth is that of all the podcasts in the world that I listen to, horror movie podcasts are my least favorite.
Get it? Yeah.
I think because I have this like super specific brain that's like only certain types of voices and certain types of horror movie content really settles and sticks. So you guys are actually one of like 4 shows that I really, really, really love. The rest of them, including my own, I publish and I'm just like, okay, someone else can listen to that shit. So.
That's so funny.
Well, we appreciate that. I guess we're doing something right. So.
Hell yeah, brother.
You are. So we're talking about Bring Her Back, which I have this stupid rule that I like made up for myself that is of no consequence to anyone but me, and that's I have to generally watch a movie at least 3 times before I review it. Ooh, now, I've only seen Bring Her Back twice because I can't bring myself to watch it again, even though it's one of my favorite horror movies of 25, and I think one of the best horror movies maybe in the last 5 or 6 years, definitely of the 2020s. But I also feel like people either really loved it or really shit on it. And so first, I want to hear where you guys are at. Did you love this movie? Was it sort of middle of the road? Did you hate it?
I really like this movie. It's in my top 5 of the year for horror. I haven't finished, or like, I need to rewatch my top 5, I think, to kind of figure out where I would place them numerically, but it's going to land in the top 4 of my top 5 for sure. I just don't know which number. But yeah, I think it's a really great film, really well made. And I liked it better than Talk to Me, which I know gets like a lot of love.
I did too.
I think this is a much more interesting, emotional film. It just, it's like, it's hitting more of what like interests me in a film than Talk to Me.
I agree with you. I like it more than Talk to Me. In terms of how I feel about it this year has been so hard because after seeing it, I was like, this is fantastic. This is where it is. But, and this is not a fault of its own, this year has had at least 3 horror movies with just insane staying power for me, which is 28 Years Later, Sinners, if we count that, and Weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for Bring Her Back, in another slower year, I think it would be at the forefront of best horror movie of the year. But with those three being blockbuster kind of cinematic experiences, Bring Her Back is like fallen to the back of my mind more. Maybe not on purpose, maybe some repressed memories because this movie messed me up.
That is fair.
Hard to say. I might be protecting myself from myself.
I will say it's considerably less fun than the three you just named.
Oh, it's not fun at all, but I like it.
Because the other three, like 28 Years has some really fun sequences, some more action sequences.
Sinners is the most fun movie
Sinners
of the year.
is so fun. And then Weapons, I think, has like a balance of tone, right? Where some of it is like laugh out loud funny.
I think Weapon just has a lot of staying power. It's just very different.
Yeah.
And it is constructed different than a lot of horror movies. So like it's going to sit at the front of your mind.
And like this comparatively is on a much smaller scale and it's incredibly fucking bleak.
Very.
Yeah. Emotionally devastating is the best way I could describe it. It's like if you want to go into a movie that's going to punch you in the face, then yeah, you should absolutely watch Bring Her Back. I liked. No, that's not true. I didn't really like Talk to Me. I did, in a sense. I thought when it came out, it was super unique. The whole demonic possession like motif was different, right? It wasn't like a Ouija board. It was there was something there that I was like, damn, that's really interesting. And I think it's the more entertaining of the two. But I feel like Bring Her Back is like the mature older brother who walks in the door, like shoulders back and is like, I'm in the room now, right? And that's not always a good thing. Sometimes
I could not have described that better. I think that's the best way to put it.
But like
you have a way with words, Will.
Well, I don't, but I appreciate that. But I feel like there's also a drawback to that because to sit with that kind of movie it's not a movie you're going to be like, oh, what are we going to watch? Oh, let's watch Bring Her Back. Like
I would never.
That's a great one.
You're
like I almost feel like it's calculated. You have to watch it at a certain time, maybe with certain company or by yourself. When you're in a certain headspace or what, I don't even know what the fuck the headspace would be other than
not a depressive episode. That's
for sure. You'd have to be like the sun would have to be shining outside, the birds chirping, the crickets making noise. Rainbows in the sky.
We saw this for the first time, like on a California National Parks road trip.
I forgot that.
So we were in like the best mood possible going into
Euphoria.
this.
We were a little sleepy. It was nearing the end of the trip.
Yeah, so this didn't wreck us. I feel like in the way it could have been had I been like balls deep in a depressive episode, like I am at home. Like.
Yeah, we're in the winter with the
the seasonal depression wasn't hitting or anything.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I watched it on my 41st birthday, which was depressing enough because I'm like into my 40s now, and it's like, ugh. So then I went to the theater at like 11 o'clock, and my 30-year-old brother was with me, and so like he's young, and I'm like, I'm so tired, I got to get up in the like you could just tell I was in my 40s at this point, and so I watched this movie, and I get out, and I'm like, oh shit, like that was. Why do I feel so heavy now? Like my shoulders feel weighty. Like I got to drive home. Why do I feel like I'm going to cry? That kind of thing. And so just know that going in, guys. If you've never seen Bring Her Back, just buckle up because it's wild.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like other movies to compare it to. Like I was thinking like Hereditary has some similar feelings, but I think Hereditary also has this other entertainment factor going on
for sure.
That it makes it a little like Hereditary's got so much other spooky shit going on and entertainment going on where like Bring Her Back is actually just like, oh, I'm just like watching a woman like emotionally abuse these children, and I'm watching her manipulate and gaslight them, and just like that's I think what makes me the most uncomfortable is this feeling of like no control. You are an adopted child that can't get yourself out of this situation, and no one's going to believe you. And I will say this movie eventually gives you some catharsis at the end in her being caught, which like had it not had that, I think this would have been almost unwatchable, but or at least unrewatchable, I would say. But that's what really gets to me is it's just like constant assault of just like truly scary things, which is, you know, abuse against children, really.
Yeah. I think the bleakness of this is the closest that maybe I've seen that people know on like a wide scale. I do think When Evil Lurks, like obviously it's quite a different film, but I think the bleakness is very similar. I also think there's a Shudder original called Anything for Jackson, which would be my closest comparison point for unique possession stories. It's basically about grandparents grieving the death of their grandson, so they abduct a pregnant woman and they're trying to possess her baby with the spirit of their dead grandson.
Sounds
so that feels
Ooh, that's like really close.
Yeah, this one I'd still say is darker somehow, but I do think it's because we have this added story of like the foster care narrative, and that is very much a real life experience, and like there's nothing real in grandparents trying to possess a baby, like that just doesn't feel grounded in reality, versus this feels very grounded in reality outside of the possession narrative.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think for me, the only other movie that made me feel even close to this kind of way was The Coffee Table.
We just missed this that like
one. I don't know.
Oh, I heard it's so good.
Listen, it's one of the best horror movies ever made, I'm pretty sure, but
let's go on the list then.
It's on the list already.
I watched it maybe, I don't know, maybe about 5-6 weeks ago. And I sat here after I got done and I was like just staring into space for a moment, just trying to process all the things that I had just watched. And it was rough. It was definitely a rough movie, but it made me feel that way, similar to how Bring Her Back made me feel. And I think, Hannah, you mentioned a good point, right? The sort of foster care subtext of the movie is important, because really what we're looking at is not just child abuse in and of itself is horrific, right? Mm-hmm. But child abuse of vulnerable kids who had gone through a tragedy right before that led to that vulnerability is infinitely just fucked, right? Like there's no real redemptive arc that you could realistically come with, right? Mm-hmm. In those scenarios. But at the same time, Sally Hawkins is so goddamn good. So good in this role that she's you almost come dangerously close to feeling a touch of empathy for her.
Yeah.
Which is really wild considering that she is in this movie.
I feel like, see, I just finished watching this again for this episode right before we got on. And I, watching her cry, I was like, okay, first of all, this is the best leading female performance in a horror movie in 2025. And second of all, I do feel for her. I have empathy for anyone who's lost someone. And so I think it's very easy for me to have empathy for her, but obviously you can have empathy for someone and disagree with the things they're doing. Sure. And there is no reality in which doing what she's doing is okay. So I feel like for me, I'm able to have both because her performance is that good.
My question is there anyone else out there that could have done what she did in this film? Because
I think a Toni Collette could.
I was thinking that, but even Toni is pretty good at coming across as kind of a as mean or a little more evil. Where I think Sally Hawkins, we are kind of predisposed to like her. You know, I feel like she's in a lot of likable roles, and so it's this.
So is Toni.
Sure, but Tony's played mean more than I would say. You're right, but because of Hereditary, I can see it's easier for me to maybe be more angry with Toni Collette. Where Sally Hawkins, I was like, I love you. You know, you seem like such a nice foster mom. Please adopt me. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting a demon put inside of me. So, you know.
Yeah, I think Toni Collette definitely comes to mind, but I think a specific version of Toni Collette, like the Sixth Sense version.
That's what I'm
thinking.
Yeah,
for sure. This soft edges, but still rough exterior almost. where because like in Hereditary, she's pretty cold. Like she's
yes.
She starts out cold and then she like becomes mean and like murderous, right?
Yeah.
And so
but Knives Out, she's quite cold there as well.
Knives
so I'm
Out.
thinking of a couple recent roles. I think she's really good at this role. So, but you're right. I need like a younger Toni Collette to play this.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I don't know if I see it. But I do wonder with Sally Hawkins in here, was that the initial intent for us to feel that empathy, or did they just catch lightning in a bottle by casting her, and now we have this entire other side story going on?
I definitely think you're supposed to have empathy for her, because
I think so.
There are scenes where she's talking about her loss, and I think it would be pretty impossible to hear her describing this experience she had without feeling some sort of empathy for her.
Let me rephrase.
It's just that she then takes a turn in the exact same scene while she gives information about her loss as a way to gain information on Andy to then use it against him. So like you feel for her and then immediately are like, fuck, you manipulative.
I should rephrase and just more say, we are supposed to feel empathy, but you have to have the perfect performance for it to work as well as it did here. And that's kind of what I want to attribute a lot to her when it comes to that. So
yeah, it felt I would say there's probably some lightning in a bottle here, because I feel like the role is so nuanced and maybe like the evil part of her, right, is super subtle. Even when we know that she's performing this ritual, even when we discover her daughter's body in the little outhouse, right, in the freezer, like there's still subtlety there, and so you almost get this sense of like this character that's doing what she needs to do, even though it's not maybe something she wants to do, but it's still fucked because it's like, I've got to like harm kids in order to get my own kid back. Mm-hmm. And that just feels fucking gross.
And she completely believes her cause is just. Like, I believe that she believes, like, especially when she's trying to convince the other
Piper.
Was it case manager?
The case manager.
The case manager.
Yeah.
Like, no, please,
right.
I can bring her back. And it's
that's
like,
right.
You're just like, she fully believes it, which is that adds to this empathy level, because you're like, she's not evil. I mean, she is, but she doesn't believe she's evil. She thinks she's doing the right thing, and it's like it messes with your brain, and this movie makes me want to throw up a little bit.
Yeah.
So even thinking about it now, I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nausea is a good word to describe this movie, guys.
Yeah.
It's a dull, like, stomach ache.
Yes, I feel it right now.
That at times has some of the gnarliest, funkiest fucking body horror in recent memory. And I love cantaloupe, which is a problem with this movie. And there's so many elements to this movie, I think, that catch you by surprise. Definitely the emotional sort of undercurrent of the film. It feels overwhelming, to watch it. There's a lot of I felt like the way the movie was shot was sort of dulled out a little bit in some scenes. It sort of felt gray, sort of to match the emotion that you were feeling. The rain scenes, especially towards the end with the car and all that, like those were just, I thought there was just beautiful filmmaking in those, even though it was horrible what ended up happening, right? But I also think I went into this movie somewhat unprepared by the trailers. So, and I think there was a gripe I had when I first came out, like, what did I just watch? Because what I was expecting, what the trailer showed me or told me to expect, was absolutely not what I just saw. To include like the mysterious possession video that popped up for 18 seconds and then we never heard it, right? Never saw it again, never heard anything about it again. Like those were in the trailer that were like, this movie's a demon possession, but it really wasn't that. This was a movie about grief and loss and the lengths someone we may go to mitigate that or feel catharsis in that, right? Like, it's interesting. So I have a question. This is completely off the cuff, popped into my brain cells literally just now. So I'm not even sure I'm going to word this question correctly or rightly or in a way that makes sense. But so often when we see people doing bad shit, it's usually born out of anger, right? Like there's this rage, there's this aggression that comes out of a person and they do something bad or evil or trifling, whatever it is. But this movie, Sally Hawkins wasn't really angry. Interestingly enough, like she didn't come across as vengeful. She didn't come across as like, I've been hurt and now I'm going to hurt someone else. It almost seemed like her misdeeds were born of sorrow.
Yeah.
Sorrow and love. Even.
Yeah.
Which is like, it feels uncomfortable to say that, right?
And I think that's what makes it even harder, like emotionally as a viewer, because it would be easier if she was just really angry and like verbally abusive to these children and yelling at them or hitting them. I think that's very, very easy to hate that person. But I think because that's not the core feelings that she's expressing, we then have, that empathy that we have for her, which I think then makes us feel even more uncomfortable because we're like, she's horrible. But I feel for her because she lost someone and she is so unwilling to accept this loss that she's doing this, which is objectively bananas.
Girl's still in the bargaining phase.
Yeah, she's bargaining for sure.
For sure.
And it's like anyone who's had loss has been there. I mean, like, ask someone a question of, if one person dies to bring someone else back, you're like, hey, that's better odds than the trolley problem. You start thinking about it, right? So like, I even think like you could put yourself in her shoes to some degree, maybe not to this length of insanity, but obviously that's the empathy, right? Is that you could understand like wanting or grieving a loss so bad that you do anything to bring them back.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe we don't ask the question out loud, but no doubt we've probably asked it privately, right? Internally, like
in our heads. Yep.
What would I, what would I do to have this person back in my life, right?
Yep.
Or what lengths would I go, or what would I sacrifice, or who would I sacrifice? Like those things are natural, like thought processes in navigating grief. I thought, to me, the most devastating part of the entire movie was the very end scene where she's basically kneeling in the pool, right? And she's just holding the corpse of her child, like the angst that I've got 3 teenagers, right? So it's like, not that I put myself in her shoes, but almost this sense of viscerally, it was rough. It was a viscerally rough movie.
To leave you on that is just so mean the filmmakers in a good way.
I know.
Compliments to them, but that is so mean because again, it's like she is the bad guy, but we're gonna make you feel for her one last time and make you question your own internal feelings.
I can't think of almost anything worse than being a parent and losing your child before you. Like we don't have children. But that truly sounds like one of the worst experiences that a person could have. Sure. So I can very easily look at her and feel, we keep saying empathy over and over again, but I think it's hard to not feel her pain. And so to end with that scene, I do think they're saying that's what we want you to feel. And that's why we're ending it this way, to leave you on that note.
They really
fuck them.
They push you to the limits. They push you to the limits of both, like the feelings for her, and then also making her do just horrible things that I think leave you twisted in knots. Because I even think we can talk about all the body horror, but I felt for me probably the most nausea-inducing scene is anytime she's trying to drive a rift between the 2 children.
Yeah.
But the one that really messed me up in the theaters is when she sprays herself with the brother's Axe body spray.
And then hits.
Oh, yeah.
Ashes her in the face a bunch of times and runs away.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to throw up in my seat. Even thinking about it now, I'm like, I don't want to. And that's scarier than a kid chewing on a knife, in my opinion.
That is one of 2 scenes that I wrote down in capital letters.
That's my hot take. That's the scariest movie or scene in the movie.
No, I wrote down 2 scenes in capital letters, and because I didn't write that many notes, and they're literally the drinking scene, JFC. That's my whole note. So it's the drinking scenes in caps and hitting her in the face, Laura Jesus was my note. Yeah. Like, those are the two hardest for me, actually, because one, like we said, she's letting this like actual child drink because she is getting what she wants out of it, because she's getting Andy drunk enough to, one, be convinced he peed his pants, and two, to give her information. So she's like manipulating him with this.
Throw up. I forgot about the pee pants thing.
Yeah, like she's manipulating him while being like, this will help you feel better in this moment. And then hitting, Piper in the face is just, obviously that's tough because it's like blatant physical abuse, but also because then she's tricking Piper into not having trust for her brother, who is like the one person in her life who's ever been 100% there for her.
So you saying all this, I'm just realizing like how masterful some of this filmmaking is, that in one scene, 30 minutes before the end of the movie, I want to throttle this woman. Like, I want to commit violence against this character. And then she's in the pool at the end dying. And I'm just like, oh, poor her. Like, what? Again, that's why I'm twisted up like a pretzel. And I don't like what this movie did to me.
I'm with you. I think, the scene where she sprays the cologne or the body spray, I think it's even more, for me, because Sora Wong, the actress, she's actually like visually impaired, right? She and so it's almost like a physical assault, but also an assault on the senses, right? Because she is, the whole scene is built on the sense of scent, right? Smell. And so Piper then in the aftermath is like, why did you do this? And he's like, but it wasn't me. And she said, but I smelled you, right? And so you have this like almost this double whammy of physical assault, but then like the mental, like the mental abuse that's there in that scene as well is, I mean, I wish I had a point of reference for acting in a movie, because I would love to know what it felt like to film these scenes, as much as it was to watch them. What like the emotions that went through each actor, actress as they navigated the filming process of this, right?
I want to know how they felt when they read the script.
Oh,
Sally Hawkins said, "Yeah, I'll do that role."
Oh, hell yeah!
I'm gonna punch a blind child in the face while she's sleeping. Like, and people are gonna like.
No, I
my
feel
role.
like reading this script, I feel like you'd immediately have to be like, "No, I want to work on this." Like, I guess. Or at least maybe that's just me, and what I like in a film is something dark that makes me feel awful. So like for me, this is the kind of script I'd be like, hell yeah, let me work on
get me in there.
I guess I'm enough of a movie nerd where it's like, you see some of these like behind the scenes interviews with, with actors, actresses, and they're like, this was so dark, or how did you, go from script to like putting this on film? And it's like, well, I wanted the challenge of it, right? And so I could imagine where if the content was less than savory, which I hope to God that Sally Hawkins read this and was like, this is so far removed from who I am as a human that is like the ultimate challenge. I pray that it was that, because if there was any semblance of like, that's fucking me, like that, I could do that because I do that every day. Like, I think
no, all the nice parts she does, it's because she's faking the whole time. So all the niceness is that's her, and it's even more sinister when you see the dark side come out. Like,
I hope she's nominated for an Oscar.
She won't. I don't think
she will be, but I feel like if there was, we talk about like Toni Collette in Hereditary, right? Should have been nominated. We talk about Demi Moore in The Substance, and Mark Qualley in The Substance. Those were Oscar-worthy performances. I think this rises to that level.
I agree with you, but I think the day we decided not to nominate Toni for Hereditary, like it's just not happening.
It was never going to happen.
Yeah, that's the big. I mean, that one bothers me still.
I feel like there's a greater shot for a Golden Globe, but even then, I don't see it.
The movie wasn't popular enough either.
That's the thing.
And I think the movie has to have some sort of mainstream appeal, larger mainstream appeal to sort of generate the buzz. I mean, just from standalone performance by itself, like, damn. I mean, Oscar-worthy, guys.
And she carries the movie.
For sure.
I mean, the other, everyone is great. The kids are actually fantastic too. But I mean, she is in the whole thing. So it's, I mean, everything is kind of carried through her.
Everything is contingent on her performance.
You know who else I think who would have done a good job in the role. I should probably pull up her name, but the crazy lady from Midnight Mass.
Oh, Beth Keane from
yeah.
Midnight Mass. You know, I think I'm
She's
too predisposed to think that she's kind of a piece of shit. So because of Midnight Mass, and like she's devilish
nice
in that.
She is very devilish in that.
Yeah. She's
But
nice.
it's
She's nice in other stuff. Yeah.
It's like if you've ever seen the original Carrie from 1976.
Oh,
it's
I have.
like Piper Laurie.
Yeah.
Just this like
You know what?
subtle, nuanced evil. Bleh,
Piper Laurie could have played this role.
I
There
agree.
you go. There's the
I
answer.
agree.
Young Piper
100%.
Laurie.
And she
Even
would have
older Piper Laurie could have.
for sure. And Piper Laurie should have won the Oscar she was nominated for in the 70s for Margaret White. I don't.
Yeah, agree.
I don't care who won. It wasn't
I
Piper
agree.
Laurie. And Shelley Duvall should have won for The Shining. That's
Go
what I
off,
think.
Queen.
Funnily enough, my Piper Laurie's fame to me is from Twin Peaks. So
Okay, yeah. Little older. She was
a little older. I know. I didn't realize it was her and Carrie, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Dude, she makes that whole. I mean, Sissy Spacek is terrific. John Travolta is great, but the 8.5 minutes that Piper Laurie is on screen is just movie gold.
Yeah,
one of the best performances.
Kind of
ever.
weirdly similar to this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Fully believes she's in the right for what she's doing, and like has this sense of, I guess, righteousness, and like you do feel for her to some degree. But no, she's a terrible parent. Like,
yep. Oh, all right. So we really can't talk about this movie. We've referenced it a few times without the body horror, right? And I think the body horror for me was unexpected because this is not a body horror movie, right? You go into the substance, you know what to expect. What's another body horror movie that I can't stomach? The one with the goddamn car. What's it called?
Teton?
Yeah, that one. Jesus, that was rough. There's a few others.
You got to see Raw.
Raw's
I think Raw is better than Teton.
Oh, I can't.
Raw's grosser.
Raw's the same director.
It's so good.
I think it's a better movie overall. Although
agree.
I do like Teton, but Raw is like
some people feel body horror like in their stomach. They get upset stomach or nausea. Me, I feel it in my teeth, and it's like I immediately start grinding my teeth. Like,
especially during this movie.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of teeth stuff here.
You weren't the only one.
It's all
grinding your
teeth.
And like the close-up shot with the knife and the sawing and the sounds, and it was insane.
This is my time to share my body horror hot take.
Yep, do it.
The teeth counter scene is harder to watch than the cantaloupe face stabbing scene for me. Because the teeth counter scene, the teeth splintering and like being left behind pieces of his teeth in the counter. And then it immediately goes from that to him ripping a piece of his own flesh and eating his arm.
Yep.
I can't do the arm thing.
That segment is really, really tough between literally eating yourself and the teeth splintering on the counter. I think that was worse than the cantaloupe scene. So when people on socials freaked out pretty exclusively about the cantaloupe, I was like, but guys, the teeth counter scene was right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Really, his whole like degradation throughout the movie was really good.
That poor kid.
So rough.
I'm just impressed though. Like they were able to make him change subtly until all of a sudden you're like, this isn't a kid anymore.
And he looks
and he's got a food baby of a corpse inside of him.
Yeah.
He's about to puke into somebody, and you're just like,
he looks great.
He looks
yeah. Whatever they did to make that poor child look
kid at the end of the
horrible.
movie. It's the eyes. Something with the eyes.
It is the eyes.
Yeah.
It is the eyes.
But
it's really interesting because I felt like I walked in and expect a full-fledged demonic possession movie. This was what it was going to be, and it was not that. The demon possession was almost secondary to everything else.
It's the
But
vehicle.
I felt like it was, and I
like
felt
that.
like it was different than Talk to Me, right? Where the possession was the story, right? And sort of possession gone wrong was the thing. But I felt like this was one of the most unique possession tales that I've seen in a really long time. I mean, it's such a tropish subgenre. I mean, Ouija boards and, demons infesting and, idols and totems and that kind of thing. And this movie touched on a note of that. But really, this was its own thing. Is there a comparative that you have within the possession exorcism subgenre that's like, hey, this is a similar movie?
I don't think I do.
I wouldn't say there's anything
one either.
Quite like it. I would say the closest, and again, not that it's similar like at all, just in terms of it's also a very unique possession was When Evil Lurks, because tonally they're very similar, and I think that also takes a possession type storyline on its head. But they're so different. So different. They're not doing the same thing.
I think a structurally similar movie, I guess, is The Babadook, where obviously it's not possession, but a paranormal vehicle to tell a grief story and a parent story. I think that's kind of similar. Not exactly, but the closest we're going to get, I guess.
That's fair. Guys, I'm trying to complete side note, whatever. Sidestep. I'm just going to float in space for a minute. I am trying my best to like the Babadook.
Oh, whoa.
So
I'm going to be sad about this.
So I like it. Let me qualify, because I feel like
I just got punched in the face.
I know.
I feel better now than I did when we were talking about Bring Her Back, though. Because as we started going through scenes of that movie again, I was like, oh, I'm sick. I don't think I want to watch Bring Her Back again. So I'm more than happy to talk about the Babadook. I will recommend everyone watch Bring Her Back once. That's it.
I like it.
Okay.
I think it's a terrific horror movie. But I don't like it. And I still think it's a terrific horror movie. So I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if it's the pacing of the movie. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there's something about the movie that I'm just like, this feels like a Sixth Sense ripoff, but it isn't that. It's not that, but it felt like that. So I'm just going to talk a whole bunch of shit, have no reasons for why I'm talking shit. And I think I just need to get it out, and then I'll feel better.
Well, we do have a much older episode on why we love the Babadook. So if anyone wants to go listen, although
so much.
Our audio quality back then wasn't as good. So
I think I love that movie so much because I actually feel like the pacing, it kind of gets into some horrifying shit pretty early to me. The book shows up pretty early in it, and the book itself is pretty scary.
Book.
And then I feel like it just gets progressively more fucked up in terms of the horror and the involvement of the actual Babadook. Sure. I also just think that while the grief narrative is very on the nose, the allegory is pretty right in front of your face, I think it is so beautifully done and empathetic and considerate to people grieving, versus I think a lot of movies will try and have this theming and fail. We've talked about Smile, I think misses the mark and gets kind of offensive with its mental health theming.
Smile 2 though.
Whereas the Babadook lands 100%. The main performance, Essie Davis, is incredible. I think where people don't like the Babadook, where it loses most people, is they find Samuel really annoying. But I love that kid, so I will not allow slander.
So I actually didn't mind him.
Okay, good.
I think I don't know. I'll just say this. I'll say this. I am willing to give it another try. Because I have been wrong. I have been 100% wrong about movies that I'm like, this was trash. And then I watch it again, I'm like, no, what the fuck was wrong with me when I watched it the first time? Where was I? Who was I? And so there's a part of me that feels like that. I remember the first time I watched it, when it first came out in 2014, 15, somewhere there. And I was so ambivalent towards horror, though, in that season, where it felt like there weren't a ton of really great horror movies out there. The Conjuring had just come out. Sinister, Insidious had just come out. Drag Me to Hell. But really, it was a lot of throwaway films like Hostel, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might have been my ambivalence. So I'm going to try it again.
We were still coming out of the mean horror era.
Yeah.
I was talking about the mean. It's post 9/11 horror. Post 9/11 horror goes from 9/11 till basically the Insidious. Probably it's like 10 years.
Yeah.
Although there's some gems in there.
There were a few. Like Trick or Treat was one. The original Saw sort of fits in that for me.
And Saw's mean also. So like, we call
really
that,
fucking mean for sure.
But I will say I agree when I echo everything Hannah said about the Babadook, but I'll just make one quick point. I think when it comes to horror films that are like trying to both tell be a horror film and also tell another narrative, I don't think there's a lot of them that nail the balance as much as the Babadook does. Even Bring Her Back, I don't think fully nails the balance of being both a horror movie and this like drama. Where the Babadook, it's one for one. In all reality, it is scary and also I think nails this grief family story at the same time, and it remains scary throughout. Like this was like a hide under the covers scary movie the first time I watched it. Yeah. So
okay, so I'll make a deal. I'm gonna lose.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a deal that I'm gonna lose. I will watch it again because it's been forever. You know, usually when I don't love a movie after the first watch, I usually don't pick it back up unless like there's a special occasion or something like this where they're like, "Hey, shut up, Will, watch this." So I'm gonna watch it again, and I definitely want to have you guys back on to talk the movie. And
let's do it.
Talk our way through it because here's the thing: like I love elevated horror, I love deep, thoughtful, like confusing horror movies. I do; they're my favorite. But I've been so resistant to this one for so long.
And it's interesting because I feel like the Babadook really kicked off the quote-unquote elevated horror.
Oh, for sure.
Craze.
And it probably hasn't really been matched in terms of its ability.
Yeah.
For sure. Go on and say that. I don't know if that's a hot
it's
take.
Very genuinely one of the most influential horror films of the century thus far.
It kind of sucks because everyone's trying to do what it did and they don't understand how to, and we just are getting some pretty bad stuff because of
we get some good stuff, but we get some pretty bananas shit too.
I feel like it takes a pretty deft touch to like strike that balance between drama and horror. You know, like M. Night is not, he's got all the deftness of like, I don't know, hammers for fingers.
Yeah, literally.
Agree. And we love him for it. All right.
But he's good at what he does. Yep. And his like opening trilogy of movies is still among the best, like, first three horror movies for any horror director. I think Zach Kreger is really friggin' close.
Well, yeah, it's really dependent on what the third movie is.
Well, that third movie is going to be the key.
He's making a Resident Evil movie, though. That's the scary thing. Like, listen, I'm about him making a Resident Evil movie, but that is setting yourself up for failure.
I know.
Guy. Like, unless it's good, then he's the greatest of all time. You know?
See, see what I don't love. I don't love directors who excel at like original screenplays and telling original stories, and then they get into like IP stuff, because I feel like there's a fan base that has unrealistic expectations of what things should be or can't be or must be or whatever, and it's a lose-lose.
100%.
And I think it sets him up for a fall off.
But also get that bag though.
I mean,
yeah, I'm kind of wondering.
Look at Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler got that bag for a bunch of years, and then he got to make Sinners. So
that's true.
That's fair.
I wonder, does he just make a good amount of money off Resident Evil, and then he makes another freaky little project for him?
Yeah,
like some people do, like one for them, one for me. Like hopefully he's one of those.
Hell, even Spielberg even does a one for them, one for me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. He panders every now and again, where it's like, okay.
But just imagine if this Resident Evil movie is actually good, then we're really eating, is what I would say.
I just don't care.
What I think they need to market it as, they need to market it not as like the scariest horror movie ever. They need to market it as like, hey, this is better than Until Dawn. And as long as you go in understanding that it's better than Until Dawn, like we're gonna blow this out of the water. If they mismarket this as like the scariest Z movie ever, and like it's gonna Train to Busan, nothing is ever gonna beat Train to Busan, right?
Yep.
ever. Nothing's ever
going to beat Night of the Living Dead.
Right. So let's not like shoot for the stars, because you just may end up floating nowhere. Let's just sit on the ground, look at the bar, and be like, the lowest bar is Until Dawn. That was some shit. This is not that.
Just give me a movie in Raccoon City and I'll be happy. That isn't that one they made for Netflix.
Do you want a confession that might get you to stop recording?
Sure. I can give you one too.
I hated 28 Years Later.
Oh no, that is sad because I liked it.
I did. And I think it's because I went in. So in complete like transparency, I didn't love Days and Weeks. I didn't love it. I didn't love either one.
Yeah, I don't love Days.
Hannah didn't watch Days until she was an adult, and I think that hurts. I feel like Days is like you got to see it when it came out.
I saw it for the first time this year.
It's too blurry. It's too like.
It looks like it's filmed on a toaster.
Yeah,
I kind of love it for that. Though.
And I just I have no tolerance for that. I think watching that now, where I'm like, I understand what you were going for, but it didn't need to look this bad to like get your point across, my man. Yeah. I also think at this point in time, watching 20 Days Later for the first time, I've seen all of the things before.
Yeah.
Yes, 20 Days inspired many of those tropes, and I will give it that. But because I've seen it done probably better now, it's hard for me to then enjoy where it came from, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but I
for sure.
Years is doing something so completely different. I do think there are issues with it, but I think its highs are so high.
Its highs are insane, I would say. I mean, from a pure cinematic standpoint, its highs are like through the fucking
I just thought it was so unique. Yeah.
It's a beautifully shot film.
I think the experimental choices that it makes, I think that risk is worth it for me. And I also think that Alfie Williams, I believe is his name, the young man playing Spike, I thought he was incredible. So that really helped.
We're so starved for unique things in a world full of AI slop and Netflix slop that even if this movie's not perfect, I'm going to just be so happy to see something that is different.
Well, and that's
something that looks different, something that feels different, something that's
a lot of my top 10 for horror this year are those things that are very different. I have, Sinners, obviously different. No one's doing what Sinners is doing. Weapons, which obviously I love how he plays with the way he tells a story and plays with time and perspective.
I would even say his humor in the horror space is pretty unmatched.
28 Years obviously takes experimental leaps. Presence, you loved it or you hated it. I really liked it, but it is clearly very unique and doing something that hasn't been done. Good Boy, not the best movie of the year, but again, it's taking another risk, which I thought paid off. So a lot of the movies that I have up there, they might not be perfect movies. There might be things about them that don't hit, and I understand why some people didn't like them, but taking a risk in your filmmaking apparently goes very far for me. If you land it,
I'm with you.
Mostly.
I'm with you. So I think with 28 Years Later, I need to see the second movie, which is probably exactly how marketing works. I am a victim of marketing. I'm just now realizing it, guys. I didn't love the first one, so I absolutely need to see the second one.
That's beautiful.
So, and I feel like if, the stories working together, interlocking, I think will probably, it'll either enhance the first movie or take away from it.
That's the thing. We really do have to consider this. This is knowingly the first in a trilogy. It was not meant to be a standalone.
A standalone, right.
So, I don't know if judging it as a standalone is quite as fair.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's all we have right now. So that's what we're going to do.
That's fair.
I have a confession for Will that's worse, so you can hang up on me once I say this.
Oh, no. What's your confession?
Guys, my internet's about to cut out.
Yeah. Will, I watched, speaking of experimental movies, I watched this for the very first time this October, and I loved it. It's a nice little movie called Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 Director's Cut.
No way, bro.
I'm not kidding. And I know you don't like it. I loved it.
Oh.
I know. I felt crazy. I will preface. I had many drinks before I turned it on.
Yeah.
Many drinks of alcohol.
And
I was watching it. I was like, wait, this is awesome. I was like, what the? I was like blown away. I couldn't believe how much I liked it. I don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 that much.
Loved
it's
it.
fine. You like his Halloween 1. See,
I
didn't like his Halloween 1. But Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, again, it's got to be the director's cut. I was like, this is incredible. I'm having so much fun. And again, very experimental.
That's
so
funny.
I know. I didn't want to believe it either because I didn't think I was a Rob Zombie fan. And then I went back and watched House of a Thousand Corpses again. And I was like, oh shit, this is good.
That was good. I liked House of a Thousand
And so
Corpses.
now I'm like, I got to go through all of his stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to admit it, but I might be a Rob Zombie truther. Like I know. Isn't that crazy? It is. I told somebody else, we were on TikTok Live. I was like, I feel like after learning I like Halloween 2, my like tastes have like changed. I was like, am I getting worse?
Interesting. So I will say I hated Halloween 2, but
most people do.
It was I've always respected filmmakers who do their own thing and don't just go for like a direct remake, right? A shot for shot remake. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what the fuck Rob Zombie was doing before he started like
me neither
hitting record on shit, because that's a wild movie.
I know. I don't know. I don't know what was wrong. I don't know if I need to just drink a lot beforehand again and if that'll help, but
I think you might have the reverse effect. I think you might drink again, watch and be like, whoa, this was have an existential crisis as you're doing it. But I do think the first 20 minutes of that movie are among the best 20-minute sequences of any Halloween movie in the entire franchise.
I completely agree. And it made me, every time that knife dropped, my stomach hurt. And then I got so crazy with it that we recently did a top 10 horror movies of the century. To make a point, I put it on there. Of the century so far. That's going to make you really upset. I was like, I need to put a Rob Zombie movie on. It's either this or House of a Thousand Corpses.
Bananas.
And I said, you know what? I'm gonna just
wild
rage right now.
The problem with that, those 20 minutes, was that the rest of the movie happened after.
I will say, I did not realize I was watching the director's cut, and I read about it, and people are like, yeah, director's cut does some better character stuff. Because I was really enjoying some of like the Laurie's character growth and like the turmoil she was going through. And I guess that's more fleshed out in the director's cut. So maybe that helped me.
I mean, they did Danielle Harris's character like completely dirty in that second movie. It just
who was that? Was that I already forget her name, Annie?
Yeah, it was Annie. Yep. Yeah.
See, I love it. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
The white horse narrative, like the scene with the pickup with the two guys and the woman, and
absurd.
Like just bananas out of nowhere. It doesn't have anything to do with anything.
I think just Vagabond Michael just strolling from miles away. He's just got this honing beak into Haddonfield. I was like, I get it. I don't know. I think I'm in the wrong. I really do, but I can't change how I feel. You know,
easily the most brutal Michael Myers in the entire franchise. I mean, just the stuff in Nightmares. But
and I knew you didn't like the movie. That's why I was like, I have to tell you.
Dude, I hate Halloween 2 from 1981 even more. And when I posted a TikTok video a couple months back on like, Halloween 2 was shit, people were like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, this movie's great. And I was like, did you watch the video for why I didn't like it? Well, fuck you. Like,
yeah, of course.
Okay. Like,
well, that's the thing. They always comment and they're just like, you're an idiot. And it's like, you clearly didn't listen to my thorough 2-minute description of why I feel that way. Because it's actually not coming from a place of stupidity.
I'm going to need to do a TikTok video for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 so that I get death threats.
Dude, I'm going to create a burner account and just
me too.
Say the worst stuff to you. And you'll know it's me.
Hey, I think I can at least vouch for it in a way you could understand. So maybe not. I don't know.
And complain about your eyebrows again.
That's
someone
fine.
else did that.
What in the world?
Yeah, we've got.
What did they say about my eyebrows?
Someone complained that Matt needed to donate eyebrows to me because Matt's eyebrows are too big and mine are long and thin. Which was
that person does know that
like
generally
15 years ago.
Men have bushy eyebrows generally. Like,
yeah, what a concept.
People are ridiculous. Okay, so 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
What else do we have to say
Let's
about
talk Sinners.
For Sinners.
3 minutes.
Oh, okay. I thought we had to do we have to sign off and bring her back, or do you just movie magic make this good?
Guys, Bring Her Back was great. Watch it. Just know going in, you're
maybe once
strapping a 2-ton brick onto your shoulders. And I'm not sure how you get that off. So just viewer discretion is advised.
Yes.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Go watch a comedy after.
Definitely go watch Yep.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Jesus, it is a comedy, unironically and unintentionally. You are correct.
People are gonna think I'm rage baiting, and I actually really liked it.
Oh God,
I know. I don't know. Something happened. Something's changed in my brain. It's Rob Zombie's fault.
There's a before and after. So
yeah, there really
with some things.
I'm scared about the after.
Sinners, incredible.
Sinners, incredible.
Yeah, it's great.
I've seen this thing lately here, especially on Threads, which is a cesspool a lot of times where
not even on it.
Things kick off and people are like, "Oh, Sinners was either great, but I loved Weapons more." And it's like, okay, but you can like more than one movie, especially movies that are not even really comparatives of one another. But then it's like, oh well, Sinners was shit because From Dusk Till Dawn was better, and it's like, okay, but they're vampire movies, but it's the survive the night trope, and it's like, but vampires are sunlight averse, so almost every vampire movie is a survive the night movie because vampires come out at fucking night. What is wrong with you?
I really don't know how to be in public anymore. I swear.
It's so true.
I don't want to say we've gotten dumber, but we might have.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm falling for it too because I loved Sinners, but now that everyone loves it so much, I'm like, it's all right. It's pretty good. Sure. And I know it's really good, but because it's I got people being like, it's the best movie of the year. I'm like, okay, well, calm down. It might be, but.
So I actually think it's the best horror movie of 2025.
It probably is.
But,
yes.
But I have I don't know if you guys have this too. There's the best movie that I think is the best movie, and then there's my favorite movie, which may be something different. Right?
Yeah, Sinners is not my favorite movie.
Okay, so Sinners is not my favorite horror movie. In fact, I probably will never watch Sinners again.
Oh, sad. You should.
Yes.
Well, remember my rule, right? So at least 3 times to watch a movie before I review it. When I did my review on One Good Scare, I watched that movie for 2 weeks straight, and so I need to see Michael B. Jordan in something else.
Oh,
I need to see him in a different role, but. So for me, Sinners was, to me, the best horror movie of 2025, but it wasn't my favorite. It certainly wasn't, I think, the most enjoyable. I thought it was terrific. Again, top 25 horror movie for me all time, but I thought Weapons was my favorite of the year.
I think that's fair.
I think I'm in a similar boat as you, actually. And the thing is, they're both so fun.
They are.
Sinners, and I said this because we did a top 10 of the century, and I didn't put Sinners in there because I was like, it feels unfair because it is a horror movie, but loosely and lightly.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's so unfair to stack up this absolute cinematic experience that had me levitating out of my seat in the AMC against other horror movies that came out post 2000s. It just seems like it's cheating a little bit. And I even said that in the episode. And you know what? It's great. And I had such a good time. And I'm thinking about that scene where Michael B. Jordan guns down a bunch of KKK members. And I'm like, ecstatic. Fantastic. But
I think about Jack O'Connell singing.
Oh my God. And dancing. It's so good. It is really good.
Rocky Road to Dublin. Oh, so good.
But it is it's so hard because Weapons is more of a true horror movie, whatever word I want to use. So
is it controversial to say that I feel like Sinners was cinematically, filmmaking wise, just one of the maybe best technical horror movies ever made? Ryan Coogler, everything is immaculate, right?
I don't think that's
that's absurd to say.
Okay.
I think again it's a little bit unfair because it's a blockbuster. It's got that money behind it, and him switching between what do you do? Switch between
he did Black Panther 2.
No, sorry. I was talking about his change between his aspect ratios throughout. He it's a technology that's never been done before. And I mean, hell, those black bars disappearing during some scenes.
Yeah, during the siege and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But and then I felt like Zach Kreger with weapons. You could almost tell comparatively, not just watching weapons, but if you look at them side by side, you can almost see the lack of polish in Zach Kreger's approach to filmmaking that's a little more organic, if that's the right word, just a little more from the gut. Like, this is just almost an extension of who he is versus Ryan Coogler, who's a little more maybe technically savvy, maybe even technically trained in terms of his filmmaking. It's like it's the difference to me between like a break dancer and a ballroom dancer.
Yeah.
Like, both are fucking talented as hell. But the
you do have a way
approaches
with
are
horror
so
as well. That's such a good way to put it. No, you're totally right.
I agree, though.
And it's really awesome that we can get both of them coming out in the same year.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
And that they're both in my top 3. Like, that's awesome.
They're both in my top. I mean, I have 28 Years Later in my top 3 as well, and I think you do as well currently.
My current top, and like I said, I might need to move around my top 5 or 10, but my current is Sinners, 28 Years, Weapons. But 28 Years and Weapons, I keep switching back and forth and then bring her back. That's my top 4.
That's fair.
So if Sinners is our ballroom dancer and Weapons is our break dancer, what is Danny Boyle in 28 Years Later?
He keeps switching genres, I think.
I know, but that's like...
He keeps switching styles of dance.
He's experimental. He's jazz.
I was going to say, he's probably more of that like freestyle, like, you know, just turn the music on and start swaying, and then all of a sudden
he's doing some interpretive
he's me at a
dance.
wedding, you know.
Interpretive dance, that's the word.
Yeah.
Interpretive dance.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's it. Interpretive dance. And Bring Her Back is a death march.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you
Just-
turn on
Bring Her Back is
you
like
put a sad song on and turn off all the lights and cry.
Bring
That's
Her
what
Back
Bring
is,
Her Back
is a coffin on a stage.
Yeah.
You know, like
Guys, I appreciate the hour. It's right in an hour.
I know. Look at us. We are horror
It's
hour.
been great. We're going to have you back. Conversation is so easy to have. I'm going to watch The Babadook, unfortunately.
Let's do it.
Fortunately.
I'll watch it again too. I haven't seen it in
And
a
I
couple years.
will, I'll probably do a couple of really bad TikTok videos on it that'll hit 225 views, which would be
Hell
great.
yeah, brother.
You know, at this point, I'm going for the cumulative million. So like, I'm going to have to do like 26,000 like total videos to get to that million. But
Couple a day.
We're getting there.
Relatable.
We're at like 50. But guys, thank you for joining me. And where can folks find you guys on the socials and on the platforms?
You can listen to our episodes anywhere you can find podcasts. So Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, yada, yada. We're also on YouTube, where we sometimes post videos of our episodes.
Or just recordings of our episodes.
That's why I said sometimes.
That's what I do.
And then we do post a lot of shorts on YouTube as well. For the socials, we are on TikTok and Instagram and Blue Sky at horror. Well, they all kind of vary, but if you search Horror Hour with the Hannas, you'll find us.
We're popular enough, sort of, you know. And if you liked any of the stuff we say, this is very similar to how we act on our episodes. So
yeah,
we like to talk about what we like, try to dig into some themes and how we think the form of a movie, you know, affects its function, is the way I like to put it.
Yeah.
What'd you learn in biology, you know? Form equals function.
It's good.
Yeah. That was about, I learned that. Yeah, I'm serious. Shanna's looking at me confusing.
With Halloween 2.
Yeah. Well, hey, we haven't covered it yet.
Hannah hasn't seen it. I feel okay not having seen it.
I feel like you're okay.
Your brain chemistry might change just like mine did. I understand I'm in the minority here.
I'm fine where I'm at.
I wanted to feel like everyone else, and just something changed in me. I don't know.
Oh my God.
You should go with the flow on this one.
Go with the flow, yep.
Swim with the current. And
no. I'm not even in the water.
That is true.
I got off.
Guys, thank you for joining me. And for those that are listening, I don't take it for granted that you're spending your time with us. And as always, be sure to follow, like, subscribe. Helps the algorithm of my heart to see good things. So, and I will catch you next week, next episode on One Good Scare. Y'all take care.